Start at www.qb.pl in 91 languages in chapter TS102. Greetings Part 1. Everyone commits sins and no one is blameless. You stayed even though you could have left. The knife remained beside you. How great is the breeder you believe has accepted and loved you before you even began to be. Whoever is obedient and submissive will enjoy all worldly goods. Breeding predicts 1 in 100, an adventurous boar who pushes or runs away from the manger into the forest, or better still, to the tram, even though there is no food there and it is stupidly dangerous. And the boar is useless there. But that 1 in 100, or 1 in 1,000, has the knowledge of what drives him. If he doesn't want to participate in breeding, what then? He neither wants to breed when given to him nor eat when given to him. He would like to go to the stars. He would like to walk slowly along the sandy paths, inhaling the scent of truffles growing just under the sand, just under the hoof. He would like to take a look at the forest with an eye calm and not bloodshot from antibiotics and steroids. The forest and the penetrating rays of the sun stroking the leaves and litter, where a lot of bugs and snails live among the moss and berries. To be free for once in your own forest. Beautiful and real. Admire trees rotten from old age. Talk to lizards. Be afraid of unfamiliar smells and sounds. Be a pig. Dig up the ground looking for roots. Nothing of that. Instead of stars, the concrete atmosphere of a slaughterhouse. Kilograms of colleagues cut into pieces. Breeding effect. The fruit of breeders' thoughts. The result of a sick civilization that does not want to be hunted, absolute fat people sitting comfortably in armchairs. Who breeds absolute fats? How are they eaten when the breeding reaches its goal? What is the goal? Who marked it and why is it important? Surely the target is invisible to the fat man in the kennel. This is always the case in any type of farming. No grain of truth, however small, is a round ball. This results in humps and exceptions. Excuse me, can you repeat the name? Breeder of the one and triple gods, incorporeal saints, or in the trinity of ones. Why are one gods bred, and what are absolute fats for? Excuse me, can you repeat the name? I already told you. Breeder. In the aquarium, the automatic switch turns off and on the light. The fish light up or go out. Their feelings and thoughts are the breath of unknown and distant worlds. Their dreams have no hook. The borders of the worlds are visible only when they are overgrown with algae. Today, a woman with a long paintbrush is walking on the railway tracks. They tell her something on a walkie-talkie and she barks back in a metallic voice. He scoops up tar and grease from the aluminum berry container. I mean loose bolts with tar and railway sleepers not filled with gravel. Step by step, he avoids the catastrophe of Europe's fastest train. Step by step, she becomes the shortwave heroine of the rattle of wheels. Because he who has oil in his head goes to the railway. There the future and the rust of the past touch each other in a rush. They mean as much as the age of steel gave them. Hut whistles have already whistled victories over the deprived of childhood workers' fry. Wide, round mining shovels, called women's butts, have already traversed thousands of tons of coal. The red-hot wire was forced through the fillers and became nails with checkered heads. Today, in the era of rubber glass, the merits of metal rifles and cannons of giants are not remembered. Stiff steel and stiff people. Rigid collars buttoned high at the neck. Aluminum pots for bitter cereal coffee brewed before dawn gave the warmth of a family hearth. Nobody knew what smectite or germanium was. The intelligentsia and those who wanted to be perceived as such tied thin strips of fabric under the neck, confusing the knot. The checkered shirt was the carrier of the lumberjack's muscles. The white bonnet was held by the lice of a pharmacist named Panamagister. The clocks had to run in circles so that there was always 0 hour after 10 o'clock. Someone who has not experienced it will never understand its logic. But it was true. In addition, these infinitely distant infinities. Who came up with it? Eventually people couldn't deal with it culturally anymore, so they diplomatically said, every infinity strives to some limit. Isn't it wonderful? It's infinite, and here's the tick, it already has a finite limit. How clever and impenetrable, but it does in the end, on the principle that with 0 we imply 1. And to raise the status of wisdom, let's call the border some dream word. And they invented the word limes. So each infinity has its limes and is thus limited. Some people's wisdom is infinitely limited. And already, start at www.qb.pl in 91 languages in chapter TS102.